Welcome back to Demon Slayer Anime Review episode number 9. Yes, 9. And you're thinking, 9? That's not much for an anime review series you just brought back. Well, there kind of is a reason for that. That's because every previous episode that I did, I'm reviewing story arcs. Not like 2 or 3 episodes trying to drag this along. I reviewed actual story arcs. For example, the very first episode covered the very first opening arc of the series. Episode 2 covered the second one. And so forth. Yes, it took us to episode 4 just to cover the final arc of the season. Yes. And then basically the next episode I ever did for the series was the movie. Yes, the movie, which I saw was really good. Yeah, and that was my 5th episode. I was saving that for episode 5. And starting episode 6 forward is basically viewing this very arc. And we're only on the 4th episode of this arc. Yes, episode 4, which is episode 37 of the series, Tonight. Which is episode the entirety of chapters 75, 76, and a portion of 77. Yes, there's a scene in the book, they do in the actual chapter of the manga, they do adapt here. There is some minor changes here. First off, we start with, well, Tanjiro and Inosuke arguing on a roof. Which, by the way, they changed the positioning here. Yes. In the manga, Inosuke was on the left and Tanjiro was on the right. Here they swapped it. Yep, they swapped it. They pretty much the same thing. While we also have where the master of one of the houses, who actually is, I think, the husband of the deceased madam who was killed by the demon. I don't remember her name, but she's basically a high-ranking courtesan. So she's open. So they also has mentioned that, well, Zenosuke, or Zinko, as he's called under his alias, has disappeared. And apparently that this particular, well, girl, aka a guy, gave him so much of a headache that he basically said, okay, don't mention anything to me anymore, and we're not going to investigate it all. We're just going to move on and do something else. Yeah, it's like he just did not care about this at all. And then he's visited later on in the episode by the sound Hiroshima. Hashima, yes. Visited by him. Where he basically asks, okay, questions. Okay, where is Selma? Where and Zinko? Here's me. I think it's his name. Zinko disappeared. The other one took ill and went to the lower part of the brothel. And he's like, okay, should I kill somebody for you? And he suggests the courtesan he basically just is afraid of. And he goes off. They do reveal that before, right after he tells Zenosuke and Inosuke, where they revealed that these two actually are not the lowest, they're not bottom of the rank. They're Konon, they're basically like 4th from the bottom. They apparently went up recently. I'm like, okay. They may not be a Hashira, but they are in fact, well, yeah. So, after the little scene of them basically have these two playing around, then of course he goes back to his former house that he was working at, though he's in his Demon Slayer garb. Though for some reason he still got the bow in his hair. He for some reason has taken out. He also still has the makeup on. Oh, I forgot to mention this is not technically where the episode starts off. It starts off with one of the courtesans who actually is leaving that very day, where she's talking to 2 little girls who are, I think, her assistants, where like asks to play with them, and read them a book. And of course, then she gives them like a special comb to put in her hair. And of course, they clearly love her, and of course, they love her back because of how much they deeply care about her. It's not exactly sexual love per se. I think it's more like a sibling love, like between big sister and little sister. That's my personal guess. and then of course think, oh, they forget something, and the demon shows up and takes her away. Well, starts, let's say, absorbing her, according to Zenosuke when he runs there later in the episode. Then, of course, well, in the case of Inosuke, he's like, after waiting for a while at his location, he's like, screw this, I'm tired of waiting. Mice, bring me my swords. And here's a bunch of muscular mice. Yes. Who just run through the ceiling. He apparently just gets his swords back. Apparently, at some point, got his mask back. And he starts hunting for the demons. Basically, he also takes off his shirt. And he starts going around. Apparently, took time to change out of the outfit to his Demon Slayer core pants. And the whatever thing inside of pants. But basically, he's running around shirtless and he's looking for a demon. And that's the difference in the case of Zenosuke. Even though he told the courtesan that he was a guy, apparently, according to her, she knew all along. How? His voice and the way he looked. I'm like, okay. And he doesn't tell her real names. Like, of course, he does mention, like, when it happened to her, she's basically been offered, she's going to be leaving. She's paying off her debt. Apparently, one of her clients is going to take her as his wife. So, then, of course, she leaves. And not long after, that's when Demon shows up. And he sniffs, like, oh no, Demon. Like, not very strong. He runs back, and he sees them. Apparently, it's already partially absorbed the courtesan, though he ends up basically, well, she ends up fighting her. She shoves him out the window. Well, actually, he was in the window, basically, and he shoved her at the other building. And then they start their fight mid-air fight. And she compliments him, basically, when she slices up part of her little sash thing that she wears. Apparently, that's her supernatural item, is her sash, which apparently absorbs people, which that's interesting. Though he was able to cut off the piece that had the quarters in it. Now I'm wondering how the heck he's going to restore that. Yep. And then, of course, also his shoulder strap on the wooden box he's been carrying all this time. And we finally see his sister finally make an appearance. And he tells her basically, just, sorry the shoulder strap broke. I want you to stay in the box unless your life is absolutely threatening. Apparently she agrees to it. And then the episode ends basically with him about to fight Demon, who is the upper six. Her name is Danki. I gotta say, very beautiful woman she is, despite being a demon. Though apparently they did change one thing about her. In the anime, they made her hair raven color, while in the case of the manga, her colorized hair is white. Not really sure why. Yeah. But not much to say. It's a good It's good part of the story arc, and I just can't wait for next week's episode. Yep. So yeah, that's the particular review. Stay tuned for my very next review, which is going to be a comic corner, and then borrow to one more comic corner, and that'll be pretty much it for today. Okay. Next video. Bye.